Yeah, it wasn't enough of that.
But you know what? It was awesome. And we're gonna come and like make it look
You know, the first year they did the
that'd be great.
he did the narration.
Yeah, no matter what.
You know how they written on the book? He did it. He'd been on Josh's room and they asked him to do it.
No.
I'm sitting there.
I heard it was. And mostly him. And then
I love him. Yeah. He's a game. So I think the right to hopefully he told me face to face. His email to me said differently. He's a winner. We'll say.
That's good.
He's accepted. He booked a trip with his son. His son is taking a gap year, and they had booked this trip to way before.
Good, how are you?
Thank
you.
Have you seen Joe?
Well, it's going to be a beautiful sunset. Exactly. It's going to be beautiful. We're so looking forward to it. I know John is with us. Yes, absolutely. So we're doing a live Facebook on the Marist Theater. That's great. So anyone who's and I'm sure Jimmy will be reading about this. Yes. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Nice to see you.
I'll do the same thing.
I'm so jealous as a parent because my 5 kids got the water. I'm like, what happened? They are. They definitely are. I just so when they were young, I used to encourage them. They go for that. They did a couple of other things. They didn't stick for it. Yes, well, kind of their own way.
So we should sit down. Very
So what does he want to do?
I'm like, I'm calling a lift, and I'm downstairs waiting for the lift. Sonny's like, I'll drive. So I can't do it. His wife comes downstairs. Oh, I forgot my phone. She has to run back up. I'm back down. Sonny's like, I'm in my car.
Hello, past alumni and current Marist students. Welcome to the Marist Theater Hall of Fame. I'm Marist Theater and I'm the Vice President of Marist Theater this year. I'd like to start off by recognizing the rest of our board members, principals, and students. We have our secretary, Cynthia Siriali. We have our treasurer, James Thompson. We have our main stage and experimental managing director, Elizabeth Robinson. We have our main stage, musical and experimental managing director, Rhiannon. We have our technical theater director, Will Petito. We have our club marketing and show publicity, Jennifer Cabrera. We have our chairperson for stage management and properties, Matthew O'Brien. We have our chairperson of costume, hair and makeup, Alexandria Shaw. We have our chairperson of box office and house, Molly Evans. Now I would like to pass off the microphone to the Dean of the School of Liberal Arts, Dean Martin Chaffer.
Thank you, Corinne. It's great to see everybody here. First, I want to congratulate our inductees today and their families. Not only did you do great things at Marist, through Marist Theater, MICTA, right back in the day, but also you continue to do that. Actually, more impressive, I think, in post-Marist life, the range of theater-connected things that all of our alumni have done. I want to draw your attention to the last 2 pages of the program, talk a little bit about the board that you just met, the Marist Theater Board, and our production season for this year. So what I want to do briefly is just kind of give you a sense about how Marist Theater is alive and well. If you look at the inside page of your program, you'll see our program for the 23-24 academic year. You'll notice that we already had our main stage fall play Art Town about a month ago. A number of these students were cast in that for part of the production for that. And the students are working on the children's theater production of Cinderella Caterpillar, which actually kicks off next weekend if you want to come back to campus. And then the week after that, the week before Thanksgiving, all those yellow school buses are going to come to campus and hang out and dine. So the 2nd, 3rd graders can come and participate in Marist Theater. It's always a great thing. We finished the fall season with the Marist monologue. And then in the spring season, we're going to do the main stage musical, which is Town this year, followed by the Lonely Planet, which is the experimental play. And we still have the James P. Anderson Playwrights Festival, which kind of wraps up the season. Now let me say a little something about the board that we have, and talk a little bit about Marist Theater. I think there's actually been some confusion. I think some of our alumni feel like, where is MICTA? Well, MICTA is still here, but the official name of the student club now is the Marist Theater Guild. Right? The students initiated that with student government a couple years ago, and it actually goes back to the 1960s. I was not at Marist, I was barely alive, but the Marist Theater Guild was the name of the Marist Theater Club back then, so it's actually a throwback to the 1960s. Marist Theater is actually 2 entities. It's the Marist Theater Guild, which is the student club, and Marist Academic Theater, which dates back to about 2006, 2007. Those 2 entities work together. So just going to give two examples from our executive board. So our president Emma Hershey Powers, is an English major with a theater concentration and a history minor. But Corinne, who you just saw, who's our vice president, is a business major with a double concentration in marketing and entrepreneurship, and she has a minor in graphic design. So you can tell that the students in the theater are no different than they were when you were here. They love theater for many different reasons. They participated in class, and they get involved in many different ways. There's no doubt it wouldn't happen without a range of students. We also still have our merit scholarships. So we give out 14 scholarships this year. I'm pleased to say we have a very strong first-year class. Some of the students participate in part times, and I understand they're going to be on the stage for Cinderella's Caterpillar as well, which is great. We're kind of renewing the club that way. I also want to talk about our partnership, New York Stage and Film. Right, we had a full summer session right here on the Student Center last summer with New York Stage and Film. We're continuing to work with them. One of the great things about that partnership is that 4 or 5 of our students last year, some of our alums, actually worked as production, marketing, and arts apprenticeships, so for paid jobs last New York Stage and Film. One of those students is still actually working in New York Stage and Film. So it's a great partnership for our theater program, and we're definitely going to build on that and continue. So definitely Marist Theater is alive and well. Now let me introduce somebody who I'm not going to call new anymore, because I think he's actually back into his 3rd season at Marist, and that's our president, Kevin Wyman. And I will say, the hottest ticket on campus is not here on the stage. Those are hot. It's not on the football field. It's if you get in one of President Wyman's Instagrams. That's what everybody wants to do. So please welcome Kevin Wyman.
Thanks, Corinne. Thanks, Marty. Appreciate that. Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. So this is my 3rd Hall of Fame ceremony. It's always one of my favorite events of the year, and that's because you all not only share a connection to Marist College, but also a strong bond with each other, spanning the classes and generations through your shared love of theater. I'm going to have a little more to say about that later. All of our students here at Marist, they love their primary activity outside the classroom, whatever that is, whether it's a sport, music, dance, club, student government, community service, and on and on. Our students are really busy, and they love what they do outside the classroom. But I don't think any group of students love their craft more than the students who participate in Marist Theater. At least no group of students demonstrates their love more than they do, and I'm pretty sure they're not acting when they show how excited they are about Marist Theater. They might be, but I'm pretty sure they're not. So it's really nice to be with you here this year at the Nellie Galetti Theater. My first year here at Marist in the fall of 2021, we had the ceremony outside, mostly because of the constraints of COVID. But I'm really glad that we, for the last 2 years, have resumed doing the ceremony right here, the room where it happens, if you will. This has been the scene of so many great performances and unforgettable moments over many, many years. Not just for all of you who put on these performances, either on stage or backstage, but for all of us who are lucky enough to attend these outstanding performances. I'm sure you know this already, but we all walk away so moved every single time by the art that we just witnessed. How you bring to life the screenplay, its messages, its emotions, its irony, its humor, through your acting, your singing, your dancing, as well as the set design, the sound, the lighting, and the stagecraft, all working together to deliver a unique, engaging experience that we all are so grateful for. One of my favorite ways to engage with students, as you might know, is not only to attend these performances, but to connect with them before and after the shows. I've learned a few things from my conversations with students in Marist Theater. One is that despite their skills as performers, in the days leading up to the performance, they seem to have this sense of impending doom. That there's no way this is going to come together. There's just not enough hours to make it come together. So I have learned to stay out of their way in that last week or so, and I've definitely learned to not ask. So, are you ready? Second thing I've learned is my favorite performance to go to is the one on Sunday afternoon. That's because it's the last one, which means they pulled it off. The hundreds of hours that each and every one of the 40, 50, or 60 students or more involved in the production paid off. They don't have to act anymore. They can be themselves again. So there's a literal sea of emotion just on the other side of that wall out there in the hallway as they come out to connect with their classmates, connect with their family members, all of whom have the bouquet of flowers to present to them, and they just get to be themselves again. I find myself crying over there with them, and I don't even really know why. So the third thing I've learned is that Marist Theater is never a job well done. And that's only because it's not a job at all. To our students, theater is a passion, and it's a calling, even if many of them later go on to professional theater, where it does become a job to a degree. At Marist, it's simply a passion. And that's what makes college theater so magical, and that's what makes Marist Theater so magical. Finally, as I noted earlier, I've learned that theater is the ultimate bonding experience for you. First, through the intense preparation for a performance which brings you together in a common purpose. Even, as I understand, sometimes there's a little bit of frayed nerves every now and again. And we're not going to ask you to comment on that. Your performances at Marist will always be frozen in time for you forever. You'll always remember the cast and the crew on every single show that you did here. They will become your family. They become your family for those weeks and months, and will become your family forever around that shared experience. Next, the common bond that you share with each other across the years. To other Marist Theater, or as Marty mentioned, MICTA graduates, not only have many of you here today never performed on a stage together, some of you are meeting for the very first time. But I bet that doesn't matter one bit, because you share this common connection, this shared experience, which makes you instant friends out of a mutual respect and understanding that you have for each other. And would the world as a whole be a whole lot better if upon meeting someone new, there was that same level of respect and understanding that you each share with each other. That unparalleled bond is what has hooked you on theater for life and brought you back to Nellie Galletti today to celebrate a special alumni. Thank you for switching roles for a few moments to go from being on stage or backstage to being among the audience today. So now it's time for me to get out of the way to do what we did here to do and celebrate those we deserve celebrating. Each one of our 5 inductees is remarkable in their own way. So let me first offer my congratulations to Peter, Jerome, Trent, Jennifer, and the late John Chapin. We're honored to have John's wife, Nicole, here with us to accept the award on John's behalf. I understand a few other folks weren't able to make it here for different reasons, but they'll be celebrated by someone who will accept the award on their behalf as well. You are all joining a distinguished group whose legacy at Marist is significant and long-lasting. So congratulations to each of you on your induction into the Theater Hall of Fame. Your recognition is very well deserved, and I'm humbled to share the stage with you today. Thank you. I hope you enjoy this day and remember it forever, just as you remember each and every performance forever, as do we. Thanks very much.
From a Marist perspective, he's on the Marist Theater Alumni Board. He's on the Marist Theater Hall of Fame Committee, who he represents today as the MC. And he's very gracious with his time. In fact, he comes up to campus 2 or 3 times a year. He was just here a month ago to talk to our students about careers in theater through our career services program. So please welcome Jim Joseph.
Thank you, Dean Shepard. Thank you, President One. I really appreciate it. I never take for granted any and every opportunity I have to be on the stage. All of us who are here understand the magic that this theater holds in our hearts, in our collective memory. This spot right here, my first performance, hair, fall of 1987. This was where I stood when the curtain came up. I'm sure all of you can close your eyes and remember your spot on the stage as well. Am I right?
Yep.
I just didn't drop that ball. Okay, we are theater folks. What do theater folks do before we start? We thank you. Those of you who have been there before, you know what you're going to do. Lead the others. Mo me me my mo moo. Mo me me my mo moo. Pa 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 pa. Ka 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 ka. Peter Piper, the pickle pepper picker. Pick the pickled peppers. Now, Peter Piper, the pickle pepper picker, had picked the pickled peppers. How many pickled peppers did Peter Piper, the pickle pepper picker, pick? Okay. Thank you. I ended with that one because our first inductee lives in the in the lores, in the history of Marist College Theater for so many reasons, but more so because he himself is his own tongue twister. Peter Purcell. Okay, hold on. Class of 1988 has amazingly found memories of his time at Marist, particularly with MCCTA. Now, depending on when you were here, you call it either MCCTA or MIGTA. So, just for the record. All right. However, it's his role that he played after his graduation as a vocal warm-up he cherishes the most. Peter Purcell went to Pronto Printer to pick up the Peter Pan posters. True story. Originally from Paramus, New Jersey, those P's just keep on coming, he moved to Southern California 32 years ago, where he's worked for big and small companies in operations, communications, and human resources. No matter the position of the company, both comedy and drama have always been a part of his work life, using so much of the acting, stage managing, producing, and front of house skills he learned at Marist. In New Jersey and California, Peter volunteered at community theater for many years as a publicity chair, volunteer coordinator, and served as a board of director and assisting nonprofit organizations with their organizations, policies, procedures, and trainings. That helped Peter launch Process Makes Perfect. Please get it? A consulting business which values marketing, making things easy, efficient, and effective to make people better and companies stronger. When not working or volunteering, Peter goes on vacation attending live theater. He survived the pandemic by watching clips of old Tony Award broadcasts and acceptance speeches. As someone who's been away from Marist for many years, he values MCCTA's use of social media in keeping the organization as strong as ever as it recruits new members, remains an active contributor in the Marist Society, celebrates alumni, and honors those no longer with us. Talk about a long-running show. Congratulations to this year's Hall of Fame recipients on behalf of Peter, but now let's all congratulate Peter as he joins us on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Purcell. One more thing I forgot to add. Peter was president of MCCTA my freshman year, so the generations do connect.
Alrighty, hello everyone, good evening. It is amazingly wonderful to be back in New York, in the Fifth Sea, on campus and on this stage. I'm not sure where my first place was, but I was a lot of places. Here, there. Ever since I got great news from the beloved Jen Joseph, I thought I'd be here tonight talking to you, sharing some words, my memory after memory after memory of this stage came to me. And it really was a great way to reminisce, remember things that maybe I had forgotten. And so my soul, my heart, so filled with gratitude. So whoever was responsible again, memory after memory. There was the blackout, campus blackout from the fall of 1988, my first production of the main stage of Grease, where we had a full dress rehearsal on the stage in the dark. Director Paul Pisario, also a Hall of Famer, we did it, and he said, hey, the Summer Lovin' scene is a little light. I need some props. I need some bushes. And learning how the club gets its money from student activities, there was no money. So in the dark, I went to the shop. I got a hacksaw, and I walked over to what is now grass. But in 1988, it was shrubs, and I hope there's a statute of limitations on stealing from the property. But I set a hacksaw and was laying in the dirt in the roof, making sure maintenance wouldn't see me, and just started. I dragged shrubs in here. We had opening night. Paul says to me, those shrubs look so real. Because they are, Paul, because they are. They were so real, in fact, that they died because of the stage lights. So, 3 or 4 other times I was out there hiding with the saw and really good memory. The other great memory, hair. So another time where, again, not a lot of money. What do? Jean Marie Negrino and I figured out what we can do. We didn't have money for sets. We didn't budget correctly for set design. Well, I don't know how it happened, but we were backstage, and right outside the loading dock, we saw some students smoking something that probably back then they shouldn't have been smoking, or we thought smoking. And we looked at each other, and we said to them, we'll give you pizza, we'll give you beer, we'll give you cans of spray paint, here's a tarp, paint something. Jean Marie, you keep them busy, I will keep Dean and Betty out of the theater. 12 hours later, we got a work of art that really we should have saved, and truly one of a kind. There were many actors on the stage. Derek's portrayal of Mayor of Michigan City. Kathleen German, who portrayed Betty Chumley in Harvey, who had one line at the very end that just says, I don't know what's living assistant, but it should be, and got applause every single night. To this day, if I'm in theater and someone walks off stage and they get applause, I need to come back to the stage and think of that moment. There was times where I was on stage, twice, in tights. One was as Peter Pan, where I got to have great foils, John and John. And then the other time, which is one of the reasons I probably will never run for public office, because I know there are photos out there, I was maybe a little too fairy for the fairy godmother. Cinderella's embarrassment. For those people who have photos, pre-video days, thank you for keeping the work every day. And then I also got to be a student director and was beautifully assigned being able to direct A Tangled Web by John Anderson, which 2 years later would be an amazing memory. So again, heart happy, soul happy, brain happy. But I thought, gosh, I really want to talk about the lifelong lessons that Marist Theater gave me. In my professional life, that has almost been all non-theater. Every day I've learned something I got from Marist Theater. Casting and recasting, callbacks, that's hiring. Right? You've got to find the right person for the right job, the right set of people for the right department. And it's no surprise that, again, companies judge themselves by what word? Performance. So again, learning just how to get the right person for the right job. Stage managing, gosh. Making sure everything, every person, every prop, every sound cue is ready to go. And so what happens when it's supposed to happen the way it's supposed to happen? That's operations, that's logistics, that's program management. Front of house is your reception. Back of house is also your people who do lights and sound, your facilities folks. Directing, producing. The budget, the money, the negotiations. Dealing with the investors, making sure everything goes the way it's supposed to, and the right people make money. The best lesson I want to share is succession planning. So whether I was lucky or smart, or silly or stupid, my junior year, I was Marist College student body president. That is a conversation for a different podium. But I decided for my senior year I wasn't going to seek a second term and focus on graduation, having fun, and the great internship programs from Marist. The president at the time, John Roach, came over to me and said, hey, MCCTA's president next year. And so, thank you, John, for that great change in my life. My senior year wasn't last. Loved being on the board, loved having a great executive council doing things, again, during the MCCTA era. That year, I spent a lot of time with that incoming freshman class. And there was a lot of people I spent time with, one, who had shared the preference of being behind the scenes like I did. And summer before alumni or awards night, whether it was in the green room or a bench outside, I looked into a young Jennifer Russell's eyes. And I said, you're going to be president of this club someday. She had that look of fear under accomplishment, and I said, Jennifer, you will graduate being president of this club. And so that was as well. So succession planning, great lesson there. So I was already, and I thought that's a great way to end, right? And a nice, happy, bittersweet note. And then just when the universe thinks you're done, it tells you something else. A couple nights ago, I was waiting in the audience to see Shocked. I was very excited to be back in New York, first time since post-COVID. And I was like, how do I just say thank you and just walk out? Well, hair wasn't really supposed to be hair. For those people may not know that. Hair was supposed to be Merrily We Roll Along. The director we hired, John Henry, who also did Godspell, and Godspell, talk about a perfectly cast company. He brought me cassette tapes, he had drawings, he even changed his fee. He really wanted to do Merrily We Roll Along. Now back then, Merrily We Roll had flopped on Broadway, really flopped. And back then, students had some power, and he said, no, we're not doing it. There was panic, we came together, Hera was born, and it was a great success. But I wonder if 22-year-old me really understood or would appreciate the message of Merrily We Roll Along. Not 22-year-old me certainly does. And I think, again, it's beyond a coincidence that this year, this time, while I'm here today back at my alma mater, Merrily We Roll Along just reopened on Broadway. So again, if you don't know that story, so you have people coming back. And so I will poorly paraphrase Stephen Sondheim, where I say, hey, it's time to come back, hang a plaque, saying this is where we began, being the best we can. Well, hail friend, I'm back on the stage. And we are going to hang a plaque with my name and others on it. And this has truly been a great where things have begun for me. And I thank Marist Theater, the Marist Theater Guild, for making me the best I can be. Thank you very much. I think I was Marist Theater fan over here.
Thank you so much, Peter. Quick show of hands. How many of you ever committed a misdemeanor crime on behalf of doing a show at Marist College? Misdemeanor, I didn't say felonies. How many of you never told Bob? Dean Schaffer shared a couple of things that I was going to mention throughout the program in terms of the history of Marist College. Those of you, I'm sure everybody knows that theater at Marist College, the club itself, is the oldest active club in the history of the school, whether it was called one thing or another. Formed in 1958, the term Theater Guild first appeared in 1959. Children's Theater started in 1968 as a separate club. 1970 brought the start of the Experimental Theater Club. And in 1974, there was the Student Directors Program. In 1976, someone had the grand idea that why do we have all of these different theater clubs together in such a small school? Let's join forces. So sort of like the Adventures of Theater, MCCTA was born in 1976. 1980 was the first festival of student-written plays. 1998 saw the incorporation and involvement of the Humoris. Is that still a thing? Yeah. Yes. And then in 2007, the Marist Theater program, the academic portion, was officially rolled out. So that is your little brief history lesson from Marist Theater. Okay, our next inductee is Jerome Anderson, class of '93. Unfortunately, Jerome ran into a series of travel misfortunes, and last I heard he's on a plane someplace over the Midwest part of the country. So unfortunately, will not be joining us tonight. But we are live streaming this ceremony. So Romy, I hope you're watching on this plane. Jerome Anderson was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and attended Simsbury High School in Simsbury, Connecticut. At Marist, he studied communication, radio, TV, and film, as a member of NCCTA from 1990 to 1993. He participated as an actor, playwright, lighting designer, set designer, producer for productions, including Alice in Wonderland, Good News, Burn This, and Pinocchio, amongst others. After graduation, Jerome began his professional arts career, working with the Cleveland Public Theater, Cleveland Science Stage Theater, the Beck Center for the Performing Arts, and Caribou House, which is the oldest professional black theater company in the United States. Jerome played the lead role of Tupac Shakur in Michael Oatman's play Before I Die, the war against Tupac Shakur. He played James Baldwin in The Fire Inside, tribute to Nikki Giovanni. Currently, Jerome lives in LA, where he produces and hosts Soapbox Sessions Open Mic, a weekly live variety show featuring music, comedy, and poetry that was recently featured in the LA Times and on NPR Radio. Jerome is a proud father of 2 sons, Jordan and Julian, whose names I will not share with you because it makes me feel old. And he's very happy to have welcomed his first grandson, earlier this year. Jerome would like to dedicate this honor to the memory of Jennifer Russell and John Chapin, and to the incredible support and mentorship of Dean Jared Cox, Bob Lynch, and Jim Steinmeier. Accepting on behalf of Jerome Anderson is Katie O'Callahan Walsh.
Jerome was a senior when I first arrived at Marist, and the first time I met him, I actually was interviewing with the NCCTA Executive Board and Dean Cox for a choreography position for the musical Good News. Romy was on the board, and at the end of the interview, he followed me into the hallway and invited me to a party at his house, and I thought, who is this guy? Okay, I don't know him. But I soon, over the course of my freshman year, would find out. When I think about Jerome Anderson, and I'm sure many of you in this room would agree with me, I think of a Humpty Dance, his adopted sister Torrin, butt nuggets, we don't even know what that means, and parties in the back cave at 65 North Road. And true to fashion, once again, Romy is late to the party. During his 4 years in NCCTA, Romy acted, but he wasn't the actor. He produced shows, but he wasn't the producer. He directed shows, built sets, and was involved in any way that he could be in NCCTA. Jerome's biggest gift was that he was the heart and soul of NCCTA. He welcomed everyone who entered the space and the NCCTA club with open arms and was all about inclusivity. He always acknowledged the students of color who participated in NCCTA and always thanked them for keeping NCCTA in living color. Jerome was and is a true leader in every sense of the word. Romy would not be happy with me if I did not mention Dean Cox and all that he did and meant to us and Jerome during our time at Marist. Dean Cox surely had a major impact on our development as people, and for that we will always be grateful. I would be remiss if I did not mention one of Romy's fellow inductees, John Chapin. The bond that the two of them shared was beautiful, and it is apropos that these two brothers are being inducted into the Marist College Theater Hall of Fame this evening. I think anyone who knows Romy would agree that he is one of the kindest and most generous people that we were ever blessed to cross paths with during our time here at Marist, and I am honored to accept this award on his behalf. Congratulations, Romy, John, Trent, Jennifer, and Peter on your induction to the Marist College Theater Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Pretty damn good for 4 class of 1993 holds a special place in my heart. They were sophomores when I was at Marist, when I graduated. They actually hold the distinction of having more members of the Hall of Fame than any other graduating class at Marist. So I think that's just a remarkable testament to that group. And I say this because I want to give a big shout out to another Hall of Famer from the class of 93 who can't join us today, Dave Lapham. Right now, Dave is been not in the best of health right now, but he's on the road to recovery, and I hope he's watching right now. Dave, we love you, and we're thinking about you. Next up, John Chapin, class of 93. John was a criminal justice major and took an active part in campus life. He spent most of his free time working in the theater with MCCTA. John enjoyed set design and construction and put those talents to use in many productions, including The House of Belief, Burn This, Vows, Stranger Than Fiction, Fools, The Miss Firecracker Contest, and The Wizard of Oz. In addition, he was the stage manager for Antigone, The House of Blue Leaves, Pinocchio, and Stranger Than Fiction. John was the assistant director for Vows. He directed Charlie's Independence Day as part of the 1992 Festival of Short Plays and a children's theater production of The Spell of Sleeping Beauty. Although the technical side of theater was his first love, he did try his hand at acting for the 1993 Festival of Short Plays, appearing in Wagner's Temptation and The Body. After graduation, John began a career in financial services, where he used his criminal justice degree as an identity theft investigator at People's Bank. That experience eventually led him to the field of credit card risk management at GE Financial, where he worked for many years. John married Nicole Marino, class of 93, who they met during theater here at Marist. In 1996, and in 2007, they welcomed their daughter Bailey into the world, who is a tremendous theater geek. John lived in Connecticut until his death when we sadly lost him in 2015. Accepting on behalf of John is his wife, Nicole.
know me know that I would be much more at home in the wings giving this speech over a headset. So that being said, I will try to be brief. Congratulations to all of the inductees. It really is such a special honor. The honor of going in for John with Jerome is just amazing. The first time I had any contact with anybody from MCCTA, I was a transfer student. I came in second semester of my sophomore year, and I wanted to get involved in theater. So I went to Bob Lynch and said, how do I get involved? A couple days later, two guys knocked on my door at Gartland, and it was John and Jerome. And from then on, every moment was John and Jerome. They were truly, truly like brothers. So that is very special that they are going in alongside each other. I know that's exactly the way John would have wanted it. Through the years, Marist College, and especially MCCTA, can't quite get nicked out. Especially MCCTA held a very special place in his heart. And the reason being the people. The people made lifelong connections that lasted throughout thick and thin. Everyone brought something to the table. Everyone was valued for something. And that was such a special and welcoming environment and such a place of growth that I'm humbled to have been a part of it. John left Marist College with a second family, and full of very, very happy memories that brought him comfort right up until the end. I have no doubt that he's here watching with us now, along with Jen and Dean, and I am sure right now they are all raising a glass for a very heavenly social. Thank you very much.
We have done this 14 times already, which is just amazing to me. The first Hall of Fame ceremony was in 2009. We've done this every fall, excluding 2020 because of COVID, and we're going to be here for as long as they let me into the damn building. In order to keep this going, we need nominations for future Hall of Fame members. There's information in your playbill and a QR code. Scan the QR code. There's a form you could fill out if you have a classmate that you feel is worthy of being included into the Hall of Fame at Marist Theater. Please fill that out. Submit that. If using a QR code is beyond your technological capabilities, just reach out to me. All right? We will accept all applications, and we will make sure that those who need to be exerted to be honored in this Hall of Fame will be. All right? Because this Hall of Fame is for all of us. Next up, Trent Sano, class of 1998. Trent has been performing in musicals since the age of 11. Originally from Lake George, New York, he spent many summers with Lake George Youth Theater, Lake George High School before heading to Marist, where he was thrilled to be part of MICTA. Highlights include playing Bill in Bye Bye Birdie, Sky Masterson in Guys and Dolls, and capping his college theater experience playing Joseph in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. So, little editorial here. I've seen lots of shows in theater. I've directed lots of shows in theater as a student and as an alum. Joseph was the most amazing show I've ever seen in all the years I've been associated with it. Shout out to everybody who's here who's part of that production. That was phenomenal. They hung a truss on the ceiling, made Bob's heart jump out of his chest. The formative college friendships that have lasted this day all stem from his involvement in music and in theater. After college, Trent continues to perform and direct while supporting his talented children, Delaney, 15, and Carter, 18, as they perform. Trent sits on the board of directors for Glen Falls Community Theater and has been involved in performing organizations throughout his southern Adirondack area. One highlight was playing Bill Sykes in Oliver, while his son played the title role and his daughter played one of Fagan's boys. In his professional life, Trent is a corporate HR retail executive, spending the last 15 years in HR. Trent is unable to make the induction ceremony due to a previously scheduled trip, but wanted to take the opportunity to thank all his friends and company mates over the years. Special call-outs to the guys from B3, the late Dean Cox, Bob Lynch, Mark Lawler, Cindy Parisi, Kristen Curry, and Nikki and Sharon Lucy. Love to his wonderful wife of 22 years, Tara, his kids, and his sister and mother. Sharon, who never missed a performance while he was at Marist. Accepting for Trent is his classmate friend, Joe DeVona.
I told Trent I would deliver his words, and here I'm in front of a microphone, so I will resist temptation, which just becomes naturally to me, and stick to the script. So on behalf of my college roommate, Trent Sano, good evening. I want to start out by apologizing for missing tonight's ceremony as I'm traveling in London with my son. Being inducted into the Marist Hall of Fame is a tremendous honor, and I certainly wish I could be there with all of you. To Jerome, Jennifer, Peter, and John, looking over all of us, I offer my heartfelt congratulations. I was able to share many thanks in my biography, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to go beyond those thank yous to ensure I recognized a special group of people who made my experience at Marist incredible. You see, when I was in high school, I was fortunate enough to find a group of friends who shared my love of performing. For a relatively small town, that doesn't happen a lot. We would play in fall soccer matches, rush off the field, and run to musical rehearsal. We spent every school day, morning to night, with one another and hung out on weekends. My best friend to this day, Sean McGee, I met when I was 13. We are still best friends. We live around the corner from one another, and our kids are now best friends. How lucky am I to have this in my life? My biggest fear when graduating high school and coming to Marist was not being able to replicate that type of bond. But the first person I met at Marist within the very first minute of orientation was Jamie Mitchell. He was an athlete, loved sports, even if it was the Yankees, his words, not mine, but also was in the music program and did theater. I was like, my biggest worry about making the transition to college has been alleviated. Jamie and I were inseparable our freshman year and roomed together the next. And that friendship grew and grew. Through MICTA, as we called it, and music, I met the guys I would share my entire college experience with. Not only on stage, but off stage as well. Mike, Sonny, Billy, Andy, Ryan, Rob, Benny, and of course, Joe. We were and are like brothers. We've stayed connected through weddings and funerals, our kids being born and growing up, and every year, every one, we plan a weekend, B3 weekend, to honor the townhouse where we lived our final 2 years of college. All of us can't always make it every year, but it is something we continue to do 25 years later. We recognize how special that time in college was and how lucky we were to find one another. So that's the message that I want to share tonight. From 3,500 miles away in London, none of what happens on this stage is as indelible as the connections that we share. I'm appreciative not only of the connections I've made with the guys from D3, but the hundreds of people with whom I had the honor to share the stage during my time at Marist. I've used the word luck in my speech tonight many times, intentionally. I feel so very lucky to have a supportive, loving family, friendships that have stood the test of time, lucky to have talents I've been able to share over my 47 years on this earth, and lucky to have found Marist College and the people that make Marist College so special. Thank you again for this wonderful honor.
Before we move on to our final inductee, I wanted to take a moment to talk about a number of awards that Marist Theater hands out over the years and every year. The Jim Britt Award, the John P. Anderson Award for Playwriting, the Dean Cox Award, and the Jennifer Dressel Award for Technical Theater. Anytime an award like this is created, the intent is always to make sure that the memory of that person remains and the spirit of what they accomplished just lasts. And sometimes, over time, and it's a natural thing that, they become awards. And the people behind the awards, it's kind of forgotten. And that's nobody's fault. That's just what happens. So I just want to take a quick moment right now and ask any of you to stand if your life was made better by knowing either Jim Britt or John P. Anderson or Jen Dressel or Dean Cox. Big moment. If you're a student now, look around the room and you see the influence of what are the pillars of this club, of this program have created. And we honor and thank all of them. Let's give them all a round. Thank you. Our final inductee for the afternoon, Jennifer Goldsmith Clements. Class of 2005. She graduated magna cum laude from Marist with a major in English and minors in theater, philosophy, and psychology. Throughout her undergraduate career, she served on the on the MICTA board in several roles, including publicity chair, experimental theater chair, and president. She appeared on stage in As You Like It and The Merchant of Venice, and supported countless productions as producer, director, graphic designer, and more. In the summer, she interned with New York Stage and Film and Pulse Ensemble Theater, enhancing what she learned on the campus. In her senior year, she helped one of the first groups of Marist students travel to the Kennedy Center American College Theater Festival to compete and learn alongside other undergraduates from the region. After graduating, she received a Fulbright fellowship to Slovakia, where she taught English, created an English language literary journal, and produced a showcase of Shakespearean scenes for her students. Upon returning to the States, she earned her MFA at George Mason University and quickly became involved in Washington, D.C.'s professional theater scene, working in arts administration roles at regional theaters, writing plays and theater reviews, providing dramaturgy for productions, and serving as a judge for the Helen Hayes Awards. She's been awarded multiple artist fellowships from the D.C. Commission on the Arts and Humanities, held writing residencies with the Federal Theater Project and the Interloop, and several of her plays produced throughout the area. Today, she is the Managing Director of Theater Alliance in Washington, D.C., a position she's held since 2019. She serves on the board of Theater Washington and teaches at American University. Most recently, she served as dramaturg for the world premiere Theater Alliance Kennedy Center production of Look Both Ways, A Tale Told in 10 Blocks. Ladies and gentlemen, Jennifer Clement.
So before I get to the little piece of paper I brought with me, I would be remiss not to call out the fact that we are in the presence of 4 generations of MICTA presidents from around my time. Carla, who was a year before me, then me, and then Julie, and then Chrissy over there. So this is sort of the legacy that those of you who are happy to confer for you. First of all, of course, thank you to Jim Joseph for the tremendous work that he and the entire executive alumni council do to keep all of us engaged and informed and do things like this where we can all see each other. Thank you, of course, to the late Dean Cox and Don Henderson and Bob Lynch for the mentorship and guidance during my time here, and congratulations to the other inductees as well. It is an honor to be here alongside you. When I think of MICTA, as it was in my time, definitely MICTA, it was a rare sort of laboratory for creating theater. We, the students, were entrusted with making things happen. And we knew that we could, because the expectation was always that this was possible. From season planning to filing purchase orders to securing the rights to a show, directing, designing, producing, every moment of every school year, we learned by doing. We would learn from each other. We would try new things. We would fail or flounder. We would learn from those mistakes. We would learn from our successes too, but no one's ever going to forget the time a new TV nailed the set together, or when the school performance of children's theater landed on April Fool's Day. If you know, you know. Above all, we would learn that we were capable. Sometimes capable also means asking for help, and we did that too. We learned what it means to collaborate, often with people whose perspectives and priorities differ from our own, and we learned that a worthy collective effort transcends the ego of any one individual. Consequently, when we were released into the real world, whether we chose to pursue theater or other career paths, we knew that we held the power to make things happen. We knew because we had already demonstrated that time and time again. I currently serve as the managing director of a mid-sized professional theater company in our nation's capital, and in a given day, I may be writing a press release, completing a grant report, drafting a production budget, or building an agenda for an upcoming board meeting. I may be working with our team to develop a marketing strategy or a tech schedule. soliciting new artists or directors to work with us, crafting community engagement resources, speaking to the Washington Post, or deciphering union regulations that seem to require a PhD in contract law to understand. So many of these things harken back to what we were able to do right here. But what's even more powerful is the knowledge and the confidence that instilled in us. MICTA was an environment where bold ideas, backed with the collaborative effort of our peers and the guidance of our mentors, could be born into action. I recently discovered a copy of the letter I wrote in 2005 toward the end of my tenure as president, nominating MICTA for Club of the Year. In that season, we produced 9 shows, which makes me exhausted to think about today, including new work through Experimental Theater Guild and annual productions of the Vagina Monologues and the Student Theater Festival of Theater Plays. We were also doing community organizing. We were partnering with other campus groups for events like Take Back the Night, and with the broader Poughkeepsie community for performances of children's theater, Kids on the Block, educational puppetry performances, and other events. We sent a delegation of actors to the regional CATF competition. We tried our hands at everything from budgets and cost outs to media outreach and audience building, in addition to the artistic disciplines evident in each production. We learned as much about the business end of theater as we did about the art, and we learned those things in a way that never felt onerous or dry because we were in the thick of it. Some of the model I'm speaking of no longer exists as such because it was a unique and powerful thing to lead college with the proficiency in creative problem solving that MICTA cultivated in all of us. I've never really heard of another school that empowers its students so boldly in this way. It made us strive for excellence, not out of fear for a grade, not to win a professor's favor, but because we owed it to each other. We all made each other better here. And I keep thinking about what a profound act of trust it was back then to charge the students with all of the facets of running a robust theater season on top of everything else that they navigate during their time here at Marist, and how it compelled all of us to step up and succeed in ways we might not have done without that kind of ownership. As the theater community here continues to weather change, I hope there is still that dedication to reinvesting this trust back to where it has always made such a difference, and that, of course, is in the students, in the front row, and in the generations yet to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're drawing to a close for the festivities, but there is a lovely reception right outside in the Dean Cox breezeway. Before we take all the obligatory pictures and we spend time outside, basking in each other's love, theater is joyous. Theater is our lives. Whether we do it for a paycheck, whether we do it because we want to, whether we attend it, whether we read about it, it's joyous. It's brought joy into my life. It's given me so much. It's given all of you so much. Never forget that. Never forget that it's joy. It creates worlds. It opens our imagination. And it's joyous. And those are the words that I leave you with. So thank you. Thank you to my fellow members of the Alumni Executive Committee. Thank you to all of you. Thank you all of you out in Facebook land. I'd like to invite Peter and Jen and Nicole to come up and to get a picture. And I love you all. And thank you. Let's do it again next year. Once you sell it, it's over. Sorry, Bob is informing we have to take the obligatory group shot of everybody. So we'll do the award recipients first, and then we'll do the family photos. Or do you want to do family photo first, Bob?